I was really fortunate to have really good leaders when I got into this industry to really help set the stage for a young 23-year-old punk getting into the industry. I think that's kind of what it's about, right? Like our industry is tough. It's the world's biggest high school. Others have heard me say that before. And I built my success on being kind to those around me and really not making it about a sales approach to how I do things, but a caring, consultative approach and not being scared to walk away from business either. I expect a certain number of meetings per week because those meetings and those thoughtful conversations are what's going to drive the proposals and sales, not sending a blind email to people you don't know. Sure, that may work if you send it to a list of people you know over the past 10, 15 years, but it's not going to work if you're trying to make a mark in the industry and you're a younger person trying to take a less personal approach. And so if there's one thing I can tell the younger sales folks in this space is it is the world's biggest high school. Yes, it is relationship based, but don't ever make it relationship driven. Don't ever take those relationships for granted and expect a sale in return. You still have to prove what you can do with those relationships. That's why sometimes it drives me nuts when someone says, "Well, who do you know?" I'm like, I know a lot of people, and if I don't know them, it's 2 degrees of separation. I know somebody that knows them, but that doesn't mean I'm going to make a referral to you if you're not telling me on what value you're going to provide in that introduction. Our industry has an issue with a big fence in the middle, right, of operators and suppliers. And I'm just going to say I've worked really hard in my career to break that fence down and to really break that wall down. Tara has done an amazing job with the multifamily matchmaking group. I got to give her a plug. When she came to me, when she wanted to do it, like we had been friends, I thought it was an amazing idea. That concept has been tried and failed 1,000 times, and she's doing a great job really organically building that group and trying to break down that wall between operators and suppliers. Because look, operators are freaking salespeople too, but they're selling to the consumers. We're on the supplier side, we're selling them services to make it easier to sell and keep their consumers, right, and their residents. So I look for a place that we can get down the road that there is no fence line. We all realize that we're salespeople in this industry and that we can work. I hate to use the word synergistically because that's the name of my company, but more synergistically together. And that's my dream for the industry. How many suppliers would bring someone back to their place to hang out for 3 hours after spending all day long on a trade show floor and being completely spent? But we were energized. And look, I think we're tight because we are all honest and transparent with each other. Anybody that knows me knows that I believe in three big pillars, right? With almost anything I do, and that applies to being a parent, being a sports coach. I think a lot of my tactics have go back to sports. As a matter of fact, when I hire salespeople, I'm not gonna lie. One thing I'm looking for is being a successful member of some kind of sports team in high school, college, things like that, because I look for the unteachables, right? The things that the things that are ingrained in you, like, resiliency and drive and competitiveness. And, you have to be so resilient as a salesperson because you're getting punched in the face over and over and over again. And that one time you get a hug out of 100, you got to look for that one time every single time. And, I think what makes us really close is I do really practice what I preach when it comes to transparency and accountability and collaboration. Those three things that are always been pillars of mine that I really talk about a lot, and we practice and preach them. And as a matter of fact, one of the first things I say if somebody comes to me with something, I'm like, "Well, did you talk to this person about it yet?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, "Why?" Like, this doesn't involve me yet unless you want me to get involved, but you need to work it out with them. And by the way, I rarely have to have those conversations with this team because that respect is there. And so if we're really talking about the main points there, I think caring and respect. And I understand what they go through. Having a sales position is the most maddening thing ever, Adrian, because you can have the best month or year ever, and guess what? It just reset. So you gotta be so resilient, and you have to be upbeat, and you have to live for making sure that you're helping grow the business in a positive way forward without getting discouraged by the fact that you're having a slow month. slow quarter or whatever.
What you do at GateWise, not what you personally do, what GateWise does. What is that differentiates GateWise from just about like, anybody else? Because I'm assuming it's got to be something that's a differentiator, right? That there's different things about each company. Not everybody does the same thing under this access control, like logo. There's a lot behind it, a lot to unpack, and it doesn't mean that you all sell the same products, the same services. There's significant differences.
Yeah, I think for GateWise, it's pretty easy. Who people think are our competitors, they're not really our competitors unless they make themselves our competitors. Because when you're talking about, and look, I'm not going to mention anybody negatively or positively. I believe in competition. Like, I don't believe in a lack of competition. Competition is what makes everyone sharper. But when you're looking at like a smart rent, even a butterfly to some extent, you know, because of the nature and the cost of what they do, they really focused on the ultra A new construction part of our industry. And, you know, Amit wanted to focus on the 85% of the industry that isn't ultra A. Because if you think about it, they're going after 15%, we're going after 85, and that's good. Amit started this company because he drove around apartment communities, and anytime he drove by a gate that was up, he went inside and said, "Hey, is your gate broken? I can fix it." That's how he built the business, and that's how he got his first several clients. And our competitors are actually more older solutions in the industry, like Door King, Linear, some of those old gate type products. When we started scaling into Houston, into Texas in general, which we have hundreds of properties. I mean, Texas is our largest saturated market by far because it has so many gates. Really focused on the gate controller part of it. We were coming into properties that hadn't had their gate working in years, and we were able to put our technology directly in line with their gate, and they didn't have to spend tens of thousands of dollars to replace the gate, and their gate worked because we were controlling it, and we put it in technology in the cloud so that you can also control everything you do from a centralized location.